All right, let's just talk about it because you've seen the video, I've seen the video, and the entire sports world is looking at this Paige Bueckers footage, asking a very simple common sense question. How is this not an ejection? You have one of the WNBA's biggest stars, Paige Bueckers, in a heated game making clear physical contact with a referee. And what happens? Nothing. No technical foul, no ejection, not a single consequence. And this isn't just a missed call. It's a moment that have exposed a massive problem that the people are getting sick and tired of. And that's the inconsistent officiating in the WNBA. So we're going to break down what really happened, look at the hard evidence, and get to the uncomfortable truth the league doesn't want to talk about. First, you have to understand the context here because this didn't happen in a vacuum. This was a high stakes game between the Dallas Wings and the Indiana Fever. Both teams are fighting for a playoff spot in a WNBA season that is more competitive than ever. The game was chippy from the start, and for Paige Bueckers, it was a frustrating night. She was playing well, but she was getting beat up on the court. Every time she drove to the basket, she was taking a lot of contact, and the whistles just weren't blowing. And it's like when you're trying to build a business and you keep hitting wall after wall, the first few times, you shake it off. But after a while, that frustration builds up until you hit a breaking point. And the play that led to this whole controversy was her breaking point. And she's fighting through a screen late in the game. She gets hit, she goes down hard, no call. You can see the look on her face is pure disbelief. She had enough. And that's when she turned her attention to the referee. Okay, let's look at the tape for a minute. Now I have to mute the audio due to copyright purposes, but check it out. So that's Paige Bueckers with the ball. She's going up for the shot. Sophia Cunningham arms is right up. So you can already see that Paige Bueckers was mad. Right after she got the shot, Aaliyah Boston got the rebound. And look at her face right here. She's already mad. So then she runs. She's clapping out of frustration. So this is what everybody is talking about. Her bumping the referee. So she's questioning the referee about that foul that happened a whole play later after they got back on their side of the court. Because remember, Aaliyah Boston caught the rebound. Paige Bueckers was running but clapping hard out of frustration. They was already going to the other end of the court. So you wait you waited until you got back to the other end of your court, being on offense, and then you waited for a foul from your teammate, which then stopped the ball play because now foul shots is coming up or whatever the case may be, for you to constantly still question this referee a possession a later ago, right? And this is shows the sentiment of these WNBA players, the majority of them, and how they're like little brats, I call them, spoiled. She's still nagging and fussing with the referee. Now, you know that would have been a technical foul. Now, we just seen that not too long ago with the Atlanta Dream and Brittney Griner when she shoulder bumped the referee and she got ejected. So the question is, why is Paige Bueckers not getting ejected? She's arguing with two referees and then she basically humped the female referee she went to and questioned the possession of initially before she started arguing with the man referee right here on the sideline, right? You see him arguing with him. So as Bueckers gets up and walks towards the official, she's visibly upset and protesting the no call. That's normal. Players get emotional, but then there's the contact. Now, let's be real. Was it a violent two-handed shove like some people are making it out to be? No. Looks more like a bump or a hump, a brush of the chest as she walks by. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The contact is undeniable. You can't argue it didn't happen. After it went viral, Bueckers said she was actually trying to offer um, her glasses to her teammate. But even if we take that at face value, it doesn't change the fact that the contact was made. And this is where it stops being about opinion and it starts being about the rules. And the official WNBA rulebook says a technical foul can be called for physically contacting an official. It doesn't say aggressively contacting. It doesn't have a footnote. That says unless you didn't mean to. It just says contacting. And it's a black and white by the letter of the law, what we saw should have been a technical foul. And an ejection is absolutely on the table. So why wasn't it called? The answer gets a lot more frustrating when you see what happened a few days later. Just a few days earlier, I mean, not later, a few days earlier. This is where the real problem comes into focus. Let's talk about Brittney Griner, like I mentioned. A few days before this Paige Bueckers incident, Griner was also playing the Dallas Wings. She got called for a foul, she argued it, and in the process, she made what was described as a slight bump with the referee. The result, she was immediately teed up and ejected from the game. So let me say that again. Griner makes slight contact with a ref, ejected. Buckers make contact with a ref, gets a friendly warning. When you put those two incidents side by side, the inconsistency is infuriating. It's like a parent who grounds one kid for a week for breaking curfew, but lets the other kid off with a warning for the exact same thing. And it creates a sense of unfairness and is why the fans are screaming about double standards and favoritism. Is Paige Bueckers getting a pass because she's one of the WNBA's new marketable stars? And it's not just her, right? Look at Caitlin Clark, who got a technical foul for smacking the basket, stanchion or support, whatever you want to call it, out of frustration with herself. She didn't touch anyone, wasn't yelling at the ref, but that emotional outburst was a T. So hitting a inanimate object is a technical foul, but physically contacting a referee isn't. Physically contacting a referee isn't. And this isn't about one bad call anymore. It's about a pattern of baffling, inconsistent officiating that undermines the integrity of the entire league. And look, this Paige Bueckers non-call is a symptom of a much larger disease in the WNBA. The league's popularity is exploding this 2025 season. I don't know how many times I got to say it, which is amazing. But the officiating has not kept up. Coaches like Becky Hammond and players from Angel Reese to Kelsey Plum have been talking about this for years. They say the rules feel like, well, not Angel Reese for years, because Angel Reese this is our sophomore year into the WNBA, just like Caitlin Clark. But Kelsey Plums and coaches like Becky Hammond, they say the rules feel like they change from game to game and sometimes from player to player. And here's an uncomfortable truth a lot of people don't know. WNBA referees are not full-time employees. They are part-timers. Many of them also officiate NCAA games to make ends meet, which means they are constantly switching between different rule books and standards. And think about that in any other profession. Would you trust a part-time surgeon for a major operation? Of course not. The highest level of a sport demands the highest level of professional, dedicated officials. But then you can look at it from a business perspective and say this league isn't even profitable to hire these referees 4 times like the men's league and the NBA. To make it worse, the WNBA has no accountability mechanism like the NBA's last 2-minute report, which publicly reviews calls made at the end of close games. The WNBA says it's a resource issue. But lack of resources is no longer an excuse when your league is this popular and you are continuing to basically demolish it in a process of demolition by being ignorant and not evolving as you should and being embracing to the very things like a Caitlin Clark and the things that is trying to make this league profitable, but you keep entertaining this drama girl, certain rules for different folks type of rhetoric. And the WNBA commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, acting like she can see certain things and that she can't see others. Without transparency, you get what we have now. Silence from the league office, which just allows frustration and conspiracy theories to grow. The WNBA is at a tipping point. The talent and excitement are at an all-time high. But if the fans, the very people you rely on, start to believe the game isn't called fairly, you lose their trust. And once trust is gone, it's incredibly hard to win back, which makes this league still not profitable, is my point. But that's my common sense take on it. Now, and I want to hear from you. I have to hear from you. I've shown you the footage, the rule book, in a comparison to the Brittney Griner ejection. What is your verdict? Was this ref making a smart call in a tense moment, or was it a blatant double standard and failure to enforce the rules? Drop your honest opinion in the comments right now, and let's have a real discussion about it. At the end of the day, this isn't about canceling Paige Bueckers. This is about the league itself, the inconsistent officiating, highlighting so perfectly by the Buckers non-ejection right after the Griner ejection points to a system that feels broken. It suggests that who you are matters more than what you do, and that the rules aren't applied equally to every player on the court. The league can say it's working on the problem, but we need to see action and not just words. Because right now the WNBA has an incredible product, but these constant officiating controversies are threatening to burn the whole thing down. The ball is in the league's court to fix it. On that note, family, I'll catch you in the next one. Love you. Let the love supersede the hate. Peace.